Guys, welcome back to the Pat Cave. Good to see you again. Been a minute since I made a video. I've got a short update for you today on the Batwing that my dad's been working on. He's, for any of those that haven't caught the other episodes of this little series, he lives down in Los Angeles. I'm up here in Northern California, and he's slowly been putting together a Batwing for me that's to scale to the Mezco figure to match this Batmobile that's behind me up here on the shelf. So how we did that was we took called Gambody, I think, the website. There's a Batwing that's on there, and you can scale it however you want. There's a couple things that aren't super accurate about it, and I go over those in my other videos, and I'll talk about one of them in this video. Essentially, we got those files. He printed out all of the parts at home on a 3D printer. He has two printers. One's, I believe, PLA, the other one's resin. Slowly got all those parts printed out. He sanded them, used filler primer, tried to get them as smooth as possible, and he ended up getting it all assembled, got a lot of the wiring inside on the wings, and now he's started the painting process, and he sent me a couple pictures from that, so I will go ahead and show those to you. So what he did is he started with a gunmetal base coat for the entire Batwing, and this, we had seen the Prop Wiz use the same method in his videos, so we just kind of went with it because I loved how his turned out and I thought it was awesome. And that's what we ended up doing for this one. So he did a layer of gunmetal and then sort of went back in with black and sort of filled in a lot of the seams and things to give it a little more dimension. And I think it turned out pretty stellar. I think he's still working on a lot of the little details. We're trying to figure out the little white symbols that go on the wings. There's like little, if you look closely at like the original model or like the Jazzing Batwing, there's a lot of little tiny symbols all over on the wings, up near the front of the glass by the cockpit, just all over the place really by the minigun that's on the side. And we're trying to figure out a way to do that. There is no pre-existing stencils to my knowledge, so we might just have to hand paint those on, which is fine. Some things like that, those little extra details make it a little more cool, that it's unique and sort of handmade. So one of the inaccuracies that the model had right off the bat, aside from having two Gatling guns, which the one in the movie does not have that, so he filled in one of the Gatling guns on the right side, left the one on the left side, which is how it looks on the studio scale model. I'll go ahead and put a picture up there. I kind of covered this a little bit in my last video. But another thing that we noticed, or I think he noticed at first when he was sort of working on it down there, was that in the cockpit where, he's got the flight controls here, and then there's sort of this piece in front of him that's kind of really long and curved, and the canopy, the top canopy for the glass covers that up. And we noticed that it's not super accurate. I want to say that it was designed probably before they had good reference of the studio scale model and, the Jazz Ink one. So he went in and redid all of that, sort of reshaped it all, added his own little touches, painted it. He's also been working on the interior lights, so I will go ahead and put some pictures of those up. And he kind of asked me what I wanted to do for the lighting inside. He used 5mm and 3mm bulbs, he told me, in a variety of colors. So he used the 5mm for the two lights that are on the wings for a little extra brightness. Then he used one 5mm, I believe, additional for the, like where the controls are, there's like a screen right there, and he cut a little piece of plastic to put right there, and then there's a light behind it to light it up. And then he put a bunch of lights on the sides here too as well. And I think that looked really freaking cool. I'll go ahead and put some more pictures up there, but it's getting close to being finished. He did experiment quite a bit with the windows, trying to 3D print those at home with translucent resin, and it just didn't work out. He gave it a shot. He printed quite a few of them, and no matter what he did or what method he tried, UV lights, polishing them, nothing really seemed to ever get them really, really clear. So we ended up outsourcing that part to a friend of mine who lives overseas, and he does, I think, a lot of industrial printing, and they have access to machines that aren't, they're a little higher quality than the home ones. And those parts and those windows are finished now, and they are in transit to him. Hopefully, we're going to have that put on soon. And he told me that the windows sort of just rest. They don't snap into place, which I was a little nervous about, so I'm glad to hear that part. And I think the only other thing that we're really trying to figure out is how to do the stand. I don't know where I'm going to store it in here. There's got to be a spot. I was thinking of a stand that's kind of elevated up above me here in the cave, and that's one option. I saw that there was a stand made for the Jazzing Batwings that mounts to the wall and can hold it sort of at an angle, and I really thought that was cool because it looks a lot more dynamic, like it's turning and flying, and I thought there might be a way to do that, so we're still kind of trying to figure that out. Him more so. I obviously can't do a whole lot from up here, and I don't have it in front of me to sit and try and look at it to see how things attach or could be attached. So unfortunately, I can't be much help for much of this. Anyways, that's the update for right now. I hope you enjoyed the pictures, and I'll go ahead and get another post up as soon as we've got a little more progress posted. As of right now, it looks pretty phenomenal. I think that he was working on the little piece, the binocular part that sort of is on the side and it folds out. There's like little goggles that fold out that he can see when he shoots the Gatling gun. He was working on that last time I checked, I think trying to figure out how to work a light in there. I think in the movie there's a red light there, and you know, these parts are so tiny compared to the Jazz Inc. one or the studio scale one, so there's not always a lot of room to work with, but surprisingly, he's been able to fit quite a bit of lights in the dash and stuff there in the cockpit, and I think it really turned out cool. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, and I don't believe it is, but you know, for the scale that it's at, this is what we have to work with. It looks amazing though, and I'm super excited to get it mounted in here. Anyways, thanks for checking out my video. For any of you that are following this series, go ahead and feel free to follow along and subscribe. Go ahead and leave comments if you have any questions, and he could probably answer them for you. He follows my videos too, obviously. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and thank you for watching and supporting my channel, my very small channel, but it's slowly growing, and I hope to bring more content to you in the future. And have a great weekend, and I will see you soon.